Welcome to the Flag Bearer channel. This is Little Known Black History Facts. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. The story of Freedom House Ambulance Service. How Black medics revolutionized emergency care. Today, when you call 911, you expect a trained paramedic to arrive, equipped with life-saving tools and the knowledge to use them. But what if I told you that this wasn't always the case? That in the 1960s, ambulance care was little more than a ride to the hospital? And what if I told you that a groundbreaking team made up almost entirely of Black men and women revolutionized emergency medicine as we know it? This is the story of Freedom House Ambulance, the forgotten pioneers of paramedic care. In the 1960s, Pittsburgh's Hill District was a vibrant Black community. But like many inner-city neighborhoods, it faced systemic neglect, pre-hospital care non-existent, situation worst in Black neighborhoods, emergency care almost non-existent. If you had a medical emergency, you were lucky if a police officer or funeral home driver showed up to take you to the hospital. Prior to its inception, emergency medical services in Pittsburgh were limited and often inadequate, especially in predominantly Black neighborhoods like the Hill District. Ambulances were typically operated by police officers, firefighters, or mortuary workers with little or no medical training, resulting in delayed or insufficient care. There was no standard training for first responders, and in many cases, patients were simply tossed into the back of a vehicle and driven away. They used hearses, Cadillacs, and Buicks, and you had a cot in the back. You just put people back there. It was dangerous and it cost lives. The Freedom House Ambulance Service, established in 1967 in Pittsburgh's Hill District, was a pioneering initiative that became the first emergency medical service in the United States. This groundbreaking service not only transformed emergency medical care, but also provided vital employment opportunities for African Americans in the community. The Freedom House Ambulance Service was the first emergency medical service in the United States to employ paramedics with advanced medical training beyond basic first aid. Staffed entirely by African Americans, it provided critical emergency care to underserved communities. The Freedom House Ambulance Service was a collaborative effort between a former ambulance driver named Phil Holland and Dr. Peter Safar, an Austrian anesthesiologist credited with pioneering cardiopulmonary resuscitation. They recognized the need for a dedicated emergency medical service in the Hill District and worked together to establish Freedom House Ambulance Service. Dr. Safar was known as the father of CPR and had envisioned a new kind of emergency service, one where trained professionals provided medical care before a patient even reached the hospital. They called it Freedom House Ambulance, a name that they believed reflected both the civil rights movement and the newfound independence in the Black community. But there was something even more revolutionary. The team would be made up of Black men and women, many of whom were unemployed or overlooked by society. 25 Black men were initially recruited from the Hill District for ambulance training. Most of these recruits were unemployed. Some were Vietnam War veterans, but some had not graduated from high school, and others had criminal records. Dr. Safar designed the paramedics training, which included a 32-week, 300-hour course on anatomy, physiology, CPR, advanced first aid, nursing, and defensive driving. They were trained in advanced medical procedures such as intubation and defibrillation, techniques that no other ambulance service in the country was using at the time. They were doing things that doctors didn't even expect from an ambulance crew. In fact, they were more skilled than many ER staff. They were pioneers in gathering patient data, using tools like cardiac monitors and transmitting this information to hospitals en route, practices that are a standard in emergency medical services today. After receiving their training, the Freedom House paramedics began working immediately following the Martin Luther King assassination riots in Pittsburgh in 1968. During their first year of operation, the Freedom House Ambulance Service responded to nearly 5,800 calls and transported more than 4,600 patients, primarily in the African American neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. According to data collected by Dr. Safar, the paramedics saved 200 lives in their first year of operations. During a deadly surge in heroin use in the city in 1973, Freedom House paramedics were able to contact local drug dealers about use or overdoses. They promised to provide medical assistance without legal repercussions for those who sold or used the drugs. This resulted in a drop in fatal overdoses in the city. The ambulance model designed by Dr. Safar and used by the Freedom House paramedics was adopted in 1975 by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration as the official ambulance standard for the United States. Despite their expertise and successes, Freedom House medics faced intense discrimination and racism from hospital staff and patients. Many white patients refused treatment from black paramedics. Hospitals ignored their reports. Even Pittsburgh city government at first refused to support the program. And yet, they kept going. They saved countless lives, proving time and time again that their model worked. By the early 1970s, Freedom House was nationally recognized as one of the best emergency medical services in the country. Their model became the foundation for modern paramedic training. But in 1975, Pittsburgh's mayor decided to replace Freedom House with a new city-run ambulance service. Many of its paramedics were pushed out. Their contributions were erased from history. For decades, Freedom House was forgotten until recently. Their story is now being taught in medical schools, and their impact is finally getting the recognition it deserves. Today, every paramedic, every first responder, every life saved by an ambulance owes a debt to the men and women of Freedom House Ambulance. Their story is one of resilience, innovation, and justice. A reminder that sometimes the greatest revolutions come from those the world tries to overlook. So the next time you see an ambulance rushing to save a life, remember this. It all started in Pittsburgh with a group of black pioneers who changed the world, one patient at a time. Until next time, if you like little-known history facts as I do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell to be notified of future uploads. Thank you for watching.